Look at this motherfucker right here. Gonna make him take a shit in his britches. Leave a shit stain in them tight britches. This motherfucker don't want none. This motherfucker don't want none. We're gonna make this fool take a shit in them white britches. Leave a stain. He gonna have to use some bleach to get it out. What is that? Is that cloak? Is that cloak? Shit in this motherfucker's britches. Pop him in the dick. Bust his ball sack wide open. Get this motherfucker. Gang bang this bitch. Whoa, sorry guys. I'm not sure how that got in here. I think that's not mine, but anyways, let's get to this guide. So I wanted to bring you guys an aim guide for the new map H1Z1. Some people refer to it as Z2. So if you're new to this game, I know it's probably super frustrating to come from a game like Counter-Strike, where basically where you shoot, it hits. Well, in this game, it's a lot different, where in certain situations you may have to lead somebody, so shooting in front of them because they're running and they're really far away, or if they're really far away, you may actually have to aim above their head quite a bit to get the bullets to drop and land. So I know it can be really frustrating. Just want to, smash your desk, smash your mouse or something, but hopefully I can give you guys some tips on how I learned how to adjust my aim and the way that I play first-person shooters, just because H1Z1's like no other that I've ever played before. So some of these tips may be brand new to you guys. Some of them you've probably been toying with yourself, but the key is to just find out what really works for you, because you're ultimately just going to have to get in game and try a bunch of different strategies with bullet drop and leading, and your FPS is going to play a role in the way that this feels for you, and your ping as well. So the best advice I can give after watching these tips is just to get in a lot of fights. I mean, don't avoid fights, just go after every fight you can, take it, and learn something from it. One additional thing is, if you guys stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys my secret method that I use to adjust and practice my aim that's helping me get to diamond. Next, I wanted to show you how many hours I have 259. I'm a relatively high player. I'm almost diamond, so I just wanted to show you what you can achieve in a relatively short amount of time in H1Z1 with the right tips and tricks. So here are my stats from this season. Top 10 matches here. As you can see, I've got 4 wins, 2 seconds, a third, and 3 fourths, and I am currently sitting at Platinum 1, very, very close to getting to Diamond. Another top 4 or 3 finish and I'll be in Diamond, and my goal is to get to Royalty by the end of Season 1. So basically I just wanted to show you guys, as a player, I've adapted from being a total scrub to getting up to Diamond in a relatively short amount of time, 259 hours. And these are the settings that I use in game for my sensitivity. So let's get back into sensitivity, gameplay, and the first up, you've got your mouse sensitivity. Mine is on 8, and now you have to consider that my DPI is 800. If you use a 400 DPI, then the equivalent mouse sensitivity is going to be around 16%. My scoped is 6%. I use a little lower on my scoped. And then vehicle sensitivity, I use this relatively high so I can flick around while I'm driving a vehicle. If you use a small setting, it's going to be really hard to turn as you're driving. And then my aim down sights, or the aiming mouse sensitivity, is on 4%, which is half of my normal sensitivity. You're going to want to turn this raw mouse input on and reduce input lag off, and I turn cone of fire off, and the rest is pretty much default. And I'm currently playing around with the 23 reticle, using this green tint here, 0, 255, and 0. If you want to adjust that, you can just pause the screen, and then you can toy around with some of these other ones, but I really just like this number 23 right now, so it's just preference. Play around with it, see what you like. Alright guys, next we're going to get into the mouse settings. If you're on Windows 10, start typing mouse down here. You're going to go into the settings here, and we're going to go under pointer options and make sure enhanced pointer precision is off, and I leave the sensitivity by default in the Windows settings. And then if you have a proprietary software like Razer Synapse for Razer, open that up, and you can adjust your DPI and your pulling rate in here. So I go to performance. My DPI is on 800. Some people like it a little lower at 400. Some like it higher at 1600. This is just preference. Play around with it. It's basically the amount of inches you move, or the amount of pixels that your mouse is picking up when you move your mouse left and right. You know, when it's at 400, your sensitivity is going to feel a lot slower, and it's going to take a bigger arm movement when you're on your desktop and in-game, so your in-game sensitivity will be twice as high as somebody that has 800. And then down here, your polling rate is how fast your mouse is updating with your computer. I set mine to the highest it can, which is 1,000. So all these things you'll just kind of have to play with. It ultimately comes down to personal preference and something that you may have used in another game that can give you a good starting point. So the first thing we're going to cover is bullet drop. In H1Z1, bullet drop is basically the idea that a bullet drops over a span of distance. So the farther you're shooting, the higher you'll have to aim, and then the bullet will drop onto your target. If you guys are getting into matches and you're aiming right at somebody and they're at a fairly long distance, you may feel like you're missing, or maybe you're hitting lower than you should if you're aiming for their head. But if you have your graphical settings turned to the right settings, you'll see the bullets that are kicking up in front of them. That's just because you're not aiming high enough to account for the distance and the bullet drop that the game has. So what you'll have to do, you'll see me in this clip, I'll actually aim above the guy, maybe 2, 3, 4 reticles above the guy based on the distance, and really you're just going to have to kind of play around with this and learn from experience. But you aim higher, you'll hear the impact of the metallic sound on his head on the Kevlar, and then the next shot after that's the kill shot. So when you guys get out there, if you're not hitting, adjust your aim a little higher, and just play around with it, and make sure you're not shooting too fast over long distances, because you'll have to adjust for the recoil. Here's one more bullet drop clip that shows some pretty extreme bullet drop. I have to aim really high, tap the guy, and adjust just a little bit, but I end up getting the kill. This next section is going to cover what we call leading or tracking. So you'll see in this clip where the guy's running, I'm going to shoot in front of him and account for him running into my bullet. So this guy, I think, was a fresh spawn. He didn't have a helmet on, so it only took one shot. But as you can see, I lead him and tap in front of him, and he runs right into the shot, and I get a headshot. Here's another example of leading. So this guy's running through the trees. A little difficult shot here because the trees are in the way, but I just lead in front of him, 2, 3 bullets, and then finally he runs right into that. I think it's the 3rd bullet there. Here's a good clip of me leading a Jeep with a Magnum, but I'm actually not leading it enough. So cars obviously are traveling a lot faster, so you're going to have to lead them by a bigger margin. But as you can see, my bullets are kicking up behind the Jeep, meaning I didn't hit the Jeep, my bullets are missing. So when you're shooting at vehicles, just try to lead them by a bigger margin, watch for the kick up on in the dirt, and then adjust from there. This next clip is going to demonstrate a flick shot or twitch shot. So basically this is just your raw instincts taking over and flicking your mouse and shooting. This shot isn't something you really think about, it just kind of happens, and over time as you take more and more of these shots, you'll become more and more accurate, and you'll be pretty amazed when you get these shots and you'll want to record the clip. But it's different in a long distance fight where you're actually aiming and thinking about your shot and adjusting. With this shot, as you see here, we're kind of pushing the limits on our speed, and we're going to hop off real quick, and I'm just going to flick shot and not even really understand what I did until after the fact. But just try these shots out. You know, don't hold your mouth too tight or you won't be able to flick, and just see what happens and record and post them on YouTube. You get some great clips. Alright guys, so if you're watching this far, I told you that I'd wait till the end here and show you guys an awesome method or little secret that I use to get better. So at first when I started playing this game, it was super frustrating trying to figure out how to shoot, why my shots weren't hitting, just what was going on in general. And I know that the game's still not fully released yet and they're optimizing it, but honestly I feel like now I'm at a point where when I miss, I pretty much miss because of me. And sure, there's some instances where maybe the game's at fault and there's some desync or just some funky stuff going on, but for the most part what I do is I use shadow play. So if you guys have a NVIDIA video card, you can use shadow play. It's a recording feature that's built into the graphics cards that doesn't take a hit on your CPU when you're playing. So what happens is I leave it on the setting where you can record the last X amount of time. So for me, I have it set to the last 90 seconds. So as I'm playing, if I get into a fight or something really cool happens, I can hit a hotkey and it'll record the last minute and a half of my gameplay, and it's super quick, super easy, doesn't impact my gameplay at all. And then when I get out of the game, I can review the footage and see what happened. So when I get into engagements and fights, I will, even if it's a good fight for me, or maybe it's a bad fight for me, I'll always watch them just to see what I did good and what I did bad, and I can adjust and see. So if I get into a fight like right here, I can review this and see how I led the guy and see the distance and remember that for the future. So if I get in another battle that's like a mid-distance fight like that, I know how much I can aim the guy and make contact. Or if I get in a fight and I feel like my shot should have connected and I'm all pissed off, and I look at the footage and I slow it down and I realize that I actually missed every shot, or maybe I missed all my shots except for one. Or maybe I see that the guy actually had a laminate and 2 of my shots hit, but his laminate protected him from those 2 shots, so I didn't win the fight because he had a laminate on and I didn't realize it. And I feel like I shot him like 6 times and maybe the first 2 were ate by his laminate. So if you guys have a video card that has shadow play on it, I highly recommend starting to use it to review your footage. Don't set it to like 5 minutes or you're going to be sifting through a lot of footage. Just set it to the last like 90 seconds or so, and you can review and see the little fights you have, and clip out the portions that you want. And if you want, you can make a YouTube montage or something. But for me, shadow play was hugely beneficial, and I could really start progressing and learning how to fight and analyzing my gameplay. And then I started using it for more situational decision making, because my shot started being on, but then I realized I wasn't using cover in one situation where I should have, or maybe I kept peeking the same way. Just different decisions that end up costing you the game. So you want to use something that can teach you, and I think shadow play is a great software for that. Alright, so lastly, I just wanted to leave you guys with some thoughts and some key tips. I know a lot of you guys probably came from other shooters and you feel like you're a great player in those shooters and you should have some transition in this game, but it may work for you, it may not. For me, it kind of didn't initially. I just felt so lost, and then once I figured it out, I started really connecting, and I started really grinding my way out of bronze and silver and gold. And so just think about that when you're coming into this game. Don't get too mad initially. Once you learn the game, then I'm sure your skills will come out. So just some of these key tips: adjust your mouse sensitivity and DPI, and then leave them. Don't switch too much. You're never going to let your body adjust to those settings and really learn them. You want it to become muscle memory. So if you're always switching, it's never going to really feel really good for you, and you're never going to feel like you just know how to do it from muscle memory, and you're going to be overthinking your shots too much. Second, learning the bullet drop for mid and long distance engagements. So you may have a system where if you can see his skins, you know that you only have to aim 1 or 2 reticles up, and then if you can't and he's all pixelated and he's just this little black character way far away, you may have to aim 3 or 4 pixels up. Ultimately, you're just going to have to get out there, try it out, and adjust for the bullet drops. That's one of the biggest take homes, is adjust for the bullet drop. See your bullet impacting and adjust from there, because it may work in one situation and then the other situation you try the same thing and it doesn't work. But if you were just to watch for the bullet drop and adjust for that, I'm sure you're going to have some success. And then learning how to lead people and vehicles in close and long range. So when people are closer, they are moving faster on your screen, so you may have to lead them more. And when people are farther, you may not have to lead them as far because they're not moving as far on your screen, but you have to account for the distance and the lag and the time the bullet's traveling. So ultimately, it's just getting out there, playing a lot of matches, getting into a lot of fights. Don't avoid fights, get into fights and learn. And you may have to combine bullet drop and leading, where if a guy's running to the right, you may have to lead him let's say a 1/4 of an inch on your screen, and then you also have to account for some bullet drop, so you're aiming up and to the right if the guy's running to your right on your screen. And then trust your instincts and let the flick shots happen naturally. So inside your head and your gut, you're going to be telling yourself, you should be shooting here, or man, this guy's going to do that, or man, I should do this. Just listen to those instincts. I promise you, more times than not, they're going to lead you in the right directions. And the times that I don't, I always sit there and say, man, I was just saying to not do this, or I should have done this. And when I do listen to those things, it usually works out for the better for me. So the flick shots will happen naturally. Just take them. Don't overthink your shots too much, and if you're gripping your mouse super tight all the time, you're not going to be as fluid, and the flick shots won't feel just super natural and smooth, and you'll probably end up missing them. And then the biggest take home, I would say, outside of actually learning how to aim inside this game, is get a recording software to record your footage. I learned so much once I started reviewing my footage and seeing how I was aiming when I was missing and seeing how I was aiming when I was connecting shots. It was night and day once I found out exactly what was going on in my previous fights, and then now I've started to use it for more situational engagements where maybe I get into that top 10 or top 5 and I'm just making bad mistakes because I'm not choosing the right decision for the situation. My shot could be on, but maybe I didn't use cover when I should have, or maybe I didn't get out of the area when I should have gotten out of the area based on the gas, or being pinched by guys, because you can see somebody coming in from, let's say the east side, and another guy's coming in from the west side, and maybe you could have gotten out of there instead of getting pinched. So if you guys have an NVIDIA card, use the recording software called Shadowplay on it. It's amazing. Just do the last 90 seconds. You don't have to record the last 5 minutes. Great software. I love it. It's definitely helped me expedite the learning curve in this game and get out of bronze and get up to diamond and hopefully royalty soon. So if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'm making new stuff all the time, and if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.